Sangma samji dashi dili shuguye.
Dashi to everyone.
Peja de nyamdo songro nang.
Please follow me in chanting the text.
Guru Bema Bao Ganjo Zodanj Tamje Kogarda Sondage Ngaje Loy Tuji Gomba Rekba Ran Sharje Ngo Tala Dede Dadil Je Dadanje Siljembe Dunje Namgaran Jembara Enjur Jelama Ganjo Nanje Medala Endo Jejeze De Dada Gam Som Sem Jena Sem Loma Denje Ngandona Tezene Jul Bena Waranja Mando Joy Jur Bezem Jela Purare Do Benal Jorenge Shinka Jene Zujembe Palamanje Je June Lungaye Danyo Mene Bar Tente Samgo Bede Laba Le Jawai De Jiran Lanju Nere Dre Nyam Gejen De Ro Taranjen De Nyendro Bai Kelama Gandre Zo Nam Ye Medage Go Som Jen Ye Lo Medage Go Som Jen Ye Lo Medage Go Som Jen Ye Lo La So Ani Deja La Lung Kudro Salgo Ba Hindu Ani Lung De Nyam Da Saro Na Shugi.
Okay, next is the ninefold exhalation of the still breath. Please follow me in doing this practice.
La So Tinin Deja La Ani Jesu Do Ani Guru Baje Kom Ngo De So So Sawi Lama Yimba Samje Ani De La Tini Nyingo Rubi Ki Ne Ani Solo Tseche Do Tab Gogo Yobare Ani Sol Deb De Ani Rangni Je Sem De Chue Dan Rewa Dan Nyam Dan Doba Yaba Jeba Dan Ani Toksum Dunga La So Ma La Shewar Shinje Labdo Sol Sama Da Dende Je Ani So Yabo Tab Lakbar Do Ani Tanda Ngöndro Kumgu Yoba Yindu Ngöndro Nyamlende Yabo Yomar Sho San Sola Tab Yongdu Lame Nawa Chin Zon Chen ene lame ko song to song da rani di lunga ye sum erme do jor song sam ne ene Ngöndro ji tsek dum zan tene lodo namba tsek dum zan me ma lo song ro na shu ge.
Okay, now is the practice of visualizing Guru Rinpoche on our crown, and in essence, that is our Guru. And then, we supplicate for the sake of being able to turn our mind towards Dharma, and then eliminate all our bad emotions. On the other hand, of course, then increase or gain great realizations. And in this context, we are specifically engaging ourselves in the practice of the Ngöndro preliminary practice. So we supplicate gurus for that for the sake of Ngöndro practice going well. And after that, then we visualize and we have completely received our Guru's blessings, and then we become one with the Guru from our body, speech, and mind. Yeah, so please, do that, and then follow me in chanting the words of the for mind changing practice.
Balden zawe lama rinpo tagi jiwara beme de la kajen jembe kone jesu kozon toje Ngöndro zal do zo dezon sanje dam jeje ngowo lama rinpo jeje tagi ju menje jolwara jenje labdo zo Salam je doba je barajen jula je warajen je labdozo sede nye la wazal zobaj lamjo darje barajen je labdozo dezum sanje dam je jengo lama rembo je je dagi ju menje jol warajen je labdozo Samlam je doba je barajen jula je warajen je labdos sede nye la wazal zoba lamjo darje barajen je labdos dezum sanje dam je jengo lama rinpo je je dagi ju menje jol warajen je labdos Samlam je doba je barajen jula je warajen je sede nye la wazal zobanch lamjo darje barajen je labdo zolwa devzo lama rinpo tungwe bedo jenjen jeje kalme dala reza jule tuye yermen je barajen je lo Kemandage Jujen Kane Jan Taljuro Dine Shindo Nyebar Dune Jizon Nyezon Jila Kewa Drube Longa Manjun Renjen Lingne Donlo Unyendo Kalde Juje Bemba Mad Chini Milu Nyeba Kalaj Tada debe kurbo arab jewe lede milu dembe Ngöndro Dongala zome sebe jazo Korya zobe nyomo nyingse Yalwa namje lenge dala ze lenye danze kando dam Damze bala jemin tado ze chola chobe tuinde nishur Longmen de la lelo nyewa Tangwe nyingme dane nyingre Kema jewe dede lengende Kosum deje danyo mangangne Lama yedam namje tode Kando namje kaye chebao Tewe dani minyal yala lo Chungse jeja zonam jewe Kewe chewa taldo jo landru 라zo 다테네 다나양아조 담배추 소신진 로고고 요바이나 해네 줍제제 담람델라 원로 원시 제제를 마체 레부 요바레 티나네 단당아조 원조 렘바데 냠조 랑시 마이마레 해네 가자나 중원로지 해네 시사나면도 원조제 망데 해네 템보라 메바이나 ngōshī ñamsū lāngkārā chēpa yīnā yāng ñamlīṃ sūshīn tu rūptūku yu mā rē tīndu chū ngōndrō lē jāng ngōi kāsā chū ngōshī lē jāng ngōndrō tē tāngbō ñamsū lāngdū sāpsā chēwa tāng kē chēwa chīnā rōgu gu yu rē tāngbō kārā ngōshī lāndrō ngōndrō tēmbō rā mē na ñamlīṃ yādē yōngu mā rē lā pūy tāwā jāng yōng tūgu mē tū ālē ngōndrō tē kē chōmbō chīnā
So now regarding the practice of the sublime Dharma, the specific methods of accomplishing this Dharma practice as then doing the preliminary practice, man-body practice, as well as concluding practice. And within this, the Ngöndro practice comes to be very, very important. Without the Ngöndro practice, preliminary practice, then man practice won't be good or productive, right? So in order to, have a man body practice very productive, then we have to make sure our preliminary practice is done very well, right? Generally, we say that without the preliminary practice, the man body practice is not productive or it won't go well. And we say that, the preliminary practice is somehow more important than man body practice. So therefore, the preliminary practice is emphasized very much. And in order to, do well on the man body practice, we have to first, do well on the preliminary practice. So now, please, keep this in mind. And this is the practice we are focusing on.
Nita ngondro de la tumongchi ngondro, tumi nanyi ngondro jine, dusun nyamnen jerimba yobale. Tānā ngā zō tōmōng chī ngō rō dē samlō tāng shīmbā yīmbā rē tēlā dē kōm sō rō samlō tāng sō rō māngbā shū yō rē dē tānā ngā zō lō tōng nāmbā shī tō nē kā rā sō rē ñam lēn chī kī yō bā yīndū tēnā nā tā khāshī ngā zō samlō tāng sā wā rē tānā ngā zō kō rō nyamik dē samlō tāng shīmbā yī.
So then as for the preliminary practice, generally there are two aspects, or two categories, common preliminary practice and the uncommon preliminary practice. And within these two, we are doing the common preliminary practice. And for this, we are generally doing the practice of the four mind changings. Within this practice of four mind changings, we have already covered, a certain points of it, and now we have reached the points of this, the defect of samsara. So now we will talk about this subject matter.
Nida koru nyemi tela yang tene rigru chi tongal samla ta ya dan ro re je tongal samla ta ya dene yo pale tanang azo re shindo samla tong shi mare tinane da nyawe kolla samla tong wa ina tene nye chanyal che nye kor den so samla tong sa warwa da nye se wi kolla ngazo samla tong gi.
So, and then as for the defects of the samsara, we have been talking in the context of the general the defects of the samsara and the specific defects of the samsara. And within these, we have been talking about the specifics, the defects of the samsara, and we have covered the 8 hot hells and the 8 cold hells, as well as the ephemeral hells, and today we have reached as neighboring hells. So we will talk about this hell, the defects of this hell.
Ninda nyese nyawa sawa de ani ne samla dana ne ngeba mebare ani sai kang la yo chogre chunang la yo chogre thak dang ta dene je chi ma dang ta ne ngeba khaya meba dene la yong yore ni lui la samla na lui ya che jong ro da me ngeba khaya yo mare ani se la samla dang wa yin na yang se ring tung de bar do ni ngeba yo mare dongal nyong da nam da yang ngeba khaya meba 어디네 네 동al 남동 해봐 매봐 인도잖아 예자와 라고 요래라 레데 대심진디 동al 저 서로와데 하정 쇼좀버래 나랑 좀 미라섬노다나 서로 내도라서 뭐 뇽인도 검시 차에도 나 장마대배 요래 아니 예자왜 냐와든 줄았다 되네 주네 매봐래 오늘 뒤저ring 등 남바 가서 동al 뇽이나 서로 쇼좀버 동al 좀 쇼진 연구고 요래 어디네 동al 체중 뭐마 쇼자와라 된대지네 동al 연구래서
Okay, I think as a translator I made a mistake. We have already talked about ephemeral hell, neighboring hells. Now we are talking about ephemeral hells. So yeah, sorry for that. And then regarding these ephemeral hells, the place is very uncertain. It appears everywhere, on earth, in water, in the space, in the forest, in the Rocky Mountains, so forth. It appears everywhere, the the place of this specific hell. And then in terms of the body, it appears to the hell beings of this realm appears to be very different kind. So some are small, some are big, and in terms of lifespan, also varies drastically. Some live long, some live short, and then of course their sufferings, similar to other hells, they're very, very extremes. And then in terms of this sufferings, it kind of the occurrence is also very uncertain, right, for them. And then these beings are very sensitive to any sufferings, and their sufferings are as extreme as the other hell's beings' sufferings. But then these beings are extremely sensitive and they're vulnerable to these sufferings, and they get to suffer so badly. It's because of their nature. Their nature is so uncertain, and themselves are very kind of vulnerable and sensitive. So their sufferings are kind of extreme. Yeah.
That's also near the way la kiwi den nawa chene samlo je dang go yo de ni cha dang to den de ji ma den la sem je ni lu cui de ba so zo ye gang la dan sun so zo so ba nang ben zo me tong wa den de ji la jia wa lang wa den de ji lu lang wa ji ne samlo dang de la ne sem je chung chang me ba mang bo ji so zo so bo zo se ane se so na ya sha de be zo na ya bo ro wa den ma re 거 레제 타 만족지 버도 그냥 샤당 된서 살바살바 게 연구여래라 아니 semjin tiamaya sawa 제네 소소소보들라 산에 되고요래 대한다 동al 민용나는 계제 가 동al 서로 알아봐슈 전용 되고요 봐다 로 장면지는 로장 망보지 이런 때로 동al 축축 문용 되는 간대 요사래 dinde dongal nyongwa ji ane kyosa samla dharana.
So then to visualize these helpings, so we can, visualize ourselves being born, between our rocky mountains, and our, bodies are kind of trapped into those rocky cliffs, rocky mountains, and only, part of our, bodies are seen, visible. All others are kind of trapped into the narrow mountains or the cliffs, and then we can't get out of these mountains, crunching mountains, and not only that, then our bodies are being eaten by other insects. We are kind of infested, and then our body is eaten by those beings, and of course, if we are eaten completely, would be better, right? But then, we are not eaten completely. Though, however much we are eaten, but then our body still, grows. And then again, the insects, maggot and so forth, they eat us continuously. So in that process, it takes very, very long. With our body, grows some. Flesh and some substance back, and then those are eaten, again by the insects, and like that, for a very, very long time. This experience is extreme. The suffering is unbearable. So then also, it's not only a short time. We have to experience this for a very, very long time. So now please take a few moments and contemplate it in this way.
So tine de jala ane sozo ju lu de ane karsa gore nazo tabsang je tab ji namba la jur ye namba ane jura de samla dang ta nyese wanya wa je samje lu mangye ba chiri nang ge du dana ane tene ja nang se ge re ta ngazo tab be ju de dang yong du je dang pembo ina ka le ka yo mare de nyese we samje ka je tene je wa lang du lui dine yinpa soso nawa shar ta tabla me tang yungu yore xing zu yungu yore peche dhamra tang do ane ko kange kazu nyungru kudurwa soso suyu de ane tab gyorsong sang tela me tang di kangla chala hayang la sopa mambo kal tene chebe kabsa na jigo kyang nu mi nu be je kange daw tang tsebe kange tang dongal dine nyungsong dine ane kyosa na samlo tang rana.
So next we can visualize our self as the stove. There's kitchens. Inside the kitchen we have stove, right? So we can visualize ourselves being the stove for this helpings experience, right? As these helpings, appears in all different kinds of forms, so we can visualize ourselves being a stove. And then as a stove, then we are on fire all the time. Right? There's a fire inside all the time, and then at the same time, inserted all different kinds of wood, right, inside. And so the experience is very terrible. fires, and then always kind of pairs with all different kinds of wood or sticks. So it's a kind of terrible experience. And upon that, we can also visualize, we as a stove then had to carry all this heavy pot or heavy containers, right, for cooking things. So this is also a kind of suffering, right? If we had to carry hot burning things on our back for a long time, it would be terrible, right? So visualizing ourselves as a stove will be beneficial. So please take a few minutes to contemplate or visualize it in this way.
So and daga nangshen do ene tab de la me da yan ji sing so so lu de so bo de bu sing ge namba jor song yin ba ji na wa sha da me bu sing de me par yong ge me par de ce yong ge re de su du ga lo de lu la ka nge ga so yong ge re o de ne ji namba la jor song ne kyo sa sam na da no.
And next, we can visualize our body as the firewood itself inside the stove, right? As a firewood, then they are burned by the fires, right? And then turns into, charcoals and ashes, right? So we can, the experience will be also very, very terrible, right? So now please take a few minutes to visualize ourselves as the firewood.
Ne so ni te chala ni tab de teng no yuba hayang gi de ne so so ji so bo de namba la jor song sam la dang go yure ta hayang jor song na me par yong yure ane te kang la chu la so ba dang ngo la so bo zui yong de na hayang che ba dang te kang la ne kyo dang chala dam ne ju chu ru dang me kam la tong ha so ro mong bo nyong wa do da ten de je ne tong ha nyong we je ne lo de de shar ni ta di ke je ju so de kong ro la so bo nyong mong ba de zo ro wa le nga ba de zo ro ta de lan jo ba yang che ni de ne nya wa nya so ba de suba khensa uchinda dongal khensa nyongo bado nyamba jone soso la ne tije ne gyule da nyomalan joba da tero samjen dongal nyongen de la nyingje komye da ne tene kyok samna da na.
So then next we can visualize ourselves as the container on the stove, right? And as a container on the stove is always on the fires is being cooked or burned all time, right? So then also within the containers, the waters or the whatever that is as a food or the soup, whatever, is always boiling. So then upon that, if we we can visualize this when the container is stirred with the the ladles, then we are experiencing tremendous suffering, right? So we can visualize it in this way. And then the causes of this experience, of course, we should know that it is hatred and other afflictive emotions, right? And so then as neighboring hell, we appear in all different kinds of forms, and so we can kind of so imagine that we can experience these kind of sufferings, and at the same time we can generate compassion for those who are experiencing these kind of sufferings. Yeah, please now take a few minutes to contemplate or visualize it in this way.
So ni ta din nang shin do ni ne din nang la ani nga zo chwa ma dang de da ta mang bo ji zui yong ge di zui ji cha la din zu yin so su bu ji ba na wa kom di kom no zui wa yin na ani zui de ga zo kan lui sang ma sik ba dang chwa ba dang kan ga zo yong ge re ta ko hi ro ji ge yo ma re ina dong al de nyong de ge yo re sik de ge yo re wa de ne je ne do zo 다 레제 다 맞아 버도 동안 용 대바다 아니 뒤로 용에 섬전 된줄라 닝제 대제지 주 일라도 녀몬 된줄라 녀샤 어디네 교산도 나오나.
So then in these kind of containers, things such as rice or vegetables are cooked. And then, while this is taking place, we can visualize our body as those a substance of those food, which is being cooked in these containers. The substance of the rice or substance of these vegetables, and so our bodies. So then, when they are cooked, then it's we get to experience unbearable sufferings, right? And when they are cooked, then they are burned and reduced, or all of these things happens, right? So these same things, happens to our body, right? We can visualize it in that way. It's cooking process, entire cooking process happens to our bodies, so we can visualize it in that way. Of course, then this takes place, until all our karmic, imprints, get exhausted, until all our karmas are gone. We are experiencing things like this, and then, we can also, generate compassion for those other beings who are experiencing it this way, and at the same time we can give rise to sense of regret for for having to experience these kind of things. Yeah, so please do it, and please take a few minutes and to visualize it in this way.
So ane tawa nanjendo sozo sokpo de kangbe nambala gyursong samba nokta kangba nala dene nga zo sowa nang torwa nang sarba che pache soche dene mangba che yondu ane sokpo de di nawa sharo yondu zana ane lubo de zo tuba nang cheba nang yalo koba nang mala shaba nang dene kabla yang sorwa dongal mangbo je nyongwa dene je nawa dene sharsiki yore nyezo wenye samjen kajela ta sozo sokpo dene gyursong sam ta di ro kaji dongal nyongwa denzo la nyingje je denji juba nangshindo 가서 냐우에 삼진게 소름낭데 혁춤을 연구요 되잖아 근데 동al 빼면서 좀 연구요래 빼난 아주 라와지 강라 사당 도든지 주디 강데 라딜디 강샤나 샤라 깔레 가면도 디나는 충충 이제 명랑로 로이나 강에 좀 쉬어요래 아니 디 서로 동al sobda dawo 정가서 밀은 용화되다 녀서 라소바 냐와 용화되라 동al 최종 수좀 휴진 연구요래 다 제발 최종데 뭐마 휴사에 봐 배신 봐지 배직다 되라오래 되네 인도 건설 동al 빼면서 휴좀 휴진 용용도 다 된절라 닝자다 제지 규는절라네 라니지 제나 규는절라 아니 교샵 어디네 쪼서 나로나 쉬어래.
Okay, and then next we can visualize our body as a house within which all the various things takes place, such as being made, being built or being destroyed, or all these things takes place, right? So when these things takes place in the house, then we experience, our bodies being cut, chopped, or kind of assembled into different ways, so forth. We can visualize, and then of course these are very very unpleasant experience. It's a very tremendous experience, right? So therefore we can visualize then also sorry, excuse me, we can generate compassion for those who are kind of experiencing the similar things, And generally, the hell beings experience are very, very extremes and unbearables. Yeah. For instance, if we have a small stone in our hand, right, or dust, a particle in our hand, it's nothing. We don't feel anything, bad about it. But if we have it in our eyes, then we experience tremendous sufferings, right? So just like that, the hell beings experience are compared to others, they're very, very extremes. We have this is one examples, and the other examples, and the level of the experience of the hell realms we have already talked in earlier sessions, right? So, and generally hell beings experience, compared to others, it's incomparable, right? So now please take a few minutes to kind of give rise to kind of sense of regret uh, for having to experience these kind of things, these kind of sufferings, creating these kind of causes for this extreme suffering. So yeah, please take a few minutes and do this.
so ane te nangshin do ane kangbala ane koyo barwa ane soso sobo de koyo ngola gyursong samlo lo je dang ane ko chewa da jaba dang ane ko shukchumbo jaba dang ko la dine nga zo lakba dang dinzo shukchumbo tungwa la soba ka bin la ane dine kara sokore dine tungal yang shukchumbo nyongwa luyi korangi soboji koyi namba gyuro sonno tang yongdo ani luide ni kedro do dang luide shakdo da chakdo namba do dang ani teneji tongo chombo nyongwa jila ya kyosa samno tang ro nang.
So next we can visualize our body as the door of the house. As the door of house, it's often opened and closed, and as well as slammed by people, right? So when this happens, then we can visualize that our bodies are experiencing these extreme sufferings, and kind of our bodies are kind of cracked, and split into pieces, and also broken into pieces, so forth. We can visualize as a door of house. So please now take a few minutes and do this.
나서 아니 다가 나천도 소주 류데 카만나라 짜마서에게 창마지 류를 조종 이 나와셔로 다 되는 삼도던 거도 는 참아 파자 수자 상모 소비가는 소비도 파리 수리 아니야 동al 망보 동 서로 쇼충부 영화 강에 된대잖아요. 답강발라발라서 보내 개요 말에 참마 창면 넘버와 디 가서 그렇게 지체 용도자는 동al 서로 망보 영화 나 동al 소라메 봐준 거는 교자는 삼나다로나.
So then next we can visualize our body as a broom in the house. As a broom, then it is often used here and there for cleaning things, right? So then when this happens, we can visualize how we are experiencing tremendous sufferings. We are being used like a broom, right? In a way. Then we don't have hands and legs or feet. We are just piece of object being used by others, right? So then the experience is very unpleasant and extremes. So please take a few minutes and contemplate these, visualizing this.
나서 되니 다가 나신도 다 가만 나나 예배 잘라레레 신동 가서 삼도 나초고 요래 다 배나 가만 나나 예배 되니 차와라서보다 전부 요도 롱거 배준단 거로 롱거지 남발로 줄나 소소소보다 되는 거든지 코 강발라보든지 파고 소고 라메베도는 코리온데 동al 가서 용도 그랬디 류든 디조송 되네 롱거지 남발라 양 삼도 나초고 요래 대가운데 거랑 서로 동을 먹보지 용도고 여러와 오늘 따체다 나랑서 통절 규비 뭐버든 저 심진제 냐위 니스 심진제 세个말에 된저 변바라데 이나야다 레지 나위도비 아니 나랑서다 뭐버든 저 배지 양답으로 땅 만네 바당 친절로 바당 와라서 바당 다 된대지도비야 된저라 차바다 셴발라서 바제바당 대도비 냐와든줄라 자와랑 쓰게 바래 랑데가 되네지 동al 용 쓰게 여러와 텔롱거지 류지 동al 용송 냠바나 쪽 삼나도로나.
So then next we can also visualize ourselves as the every single entity or object in the house. For instance, when it's very hot in a room, we will use fans, right? So then we can visualize ourselves as a fan, and when it is turned on, then we are experiencing tremendous headaches, or we are dizzying. Our head is kind of spinned many times, and we are experiencing dizzying headaches and so forth. And then of course our hands and legs are kind of broken because of the spinnings, right? And so in that way the experience is kind of tremendously bad or unpleasant. So we can visualize it in that way. And generally, of course, the object in the house, we are not saying they are the embodiment or the avatars of the ephemeral being, ephemeral hell beings, but as the power of our karmic consequences, or the power of that, we can visualize ourselves as the entity such as those, and then experiencing tremendous suffering, relating to those different entities, right? So yeah. And now please take a few minutes and contemplate ourselves as a fan, and then regarding the unpleasant suffering with it. Yeah.
So Taganashendo, the Nyezo Navasa, the Neba Meba Yundu, Dolo Namanda Nambara, Nyong Sigure, and the Kerala Sobadan, and the Kapdan, Kubadan, Tabadan, Tidan, Tide, de Tubeji Hingdan, Zadan, Lasoba Nambadan, Tinichala Mambo, Shazaji, and Nerdodan, Modadan, Drusing Sododan, Dinzoji, Jakji, the Karsore, Korlo Sododan. Tene namdo sodo da luida mera ni nawa dine nyong se yore nyong de kabla ya tongal chungjung dene mai ba sem khoram la soro sem sur chombo yode zana an tongal haja chombo nyong ge ba ene pen ka so re serge namba sodo da tene ta chokje je namba den je namba da khang dine luige nawa dine shar se ge yo sare te kabla ne tongal mang nyong se ge ba re wata denzo je je ju to de nyawa chama ne 아주 레 준비 갑자 시작하듯이 교든선든 배제 하나 많은 더 체중마도 봐 더더와 엔데솔은 여바다 신 데롤라 제비 섬진도는 닝제 섬로단 거고 요래.
So then similarly we can visualize ourselves as the clothings of all different kinds, the clothes. And we can visualize ourselves as the belt or needles, or also backpacks, knives, also other things such as cars and their wheels, and as well as those tools to fix cars, so forth. And we can visualize ourselves as also the flight, right? So with these, we are visualizing this. We are also kind of experiencing the relating the sufferings, right? The suffering related to those objects, right? And also we can visualize ourselves as nails, as tables, as also cushions, so forth. And then these objects are kind of as we said earlier, they are being used in different ways, and then as that is taking place, then we get to experience tremendous suffering, right? So we can use all these means to kind of feel the sufferings. And then for the cause of these suffering is same as the other hell beings we have already talked about, right? And and now we can give rise to the sense of the sense of regret for these sufferings, and at the same time compassion for those who are having the same suffering, who are experiencing the same suffering. Yeah, please do this in a few minutes.
나서 당 원로지 배자 중대 냠도 송로나
The remaining text.
제야로바 제베 질구로 대제 상아 제베 개와 되좀 사베 개조 군동 라메 장좀 닝보롱 오라지 소남디 다예 조안 권제나 자외 버제 군지 림니 람제 저바 다르제 배만 잘병 고바 뉴르도 베조 사제 라메 제람닝 예담 간조 르단 제제 전용 좀에 버제 군사 조등을 좀 준비하시죠. 엄마 바자랑 거로 배마세데 오 미제데 쳔베 예제네 와자뇨 메가예 담에 손조와 베조다랑나 라진조 베신조 베마우 주님은 좀자세르들로 냠난고 벨자메 강젠부 레바제 베바우 다겐조 조제로 데도제 롱가란주 대외도 메곰보 다예 니제드레 자나 베모나 고좀곤데 제메도데 강도조 베젠조 제라조 젠당고 예남로 달레베 주드로다 제메든잔들 다젠가 냠예제 자조 세데베 마다도 제와라조 대야레 제남제 zellamla 데네고 예제 자조 소제라 메고바 유르도 라젠데 녜룬제 로바라시 너메제 다이르메 베만조라난다 베산도 바레지 나레예레메 만주뉴메 너네 남다 진도 제와라조 강도 인제베 제와 담제도 도레 윤덴든덴도 개만다도 제단 제주르네 졸젠르베라와유 주도 내내 님베든 좀데 제드레세베 자조한걸 세바 담베 저람 든제제 시벤 좀라 정알라메 랍제 신든 조레메바 담제 잠제 산제 도바라조 나서 네 상말라 도지지 주기 에는 고소 도잖아 나서 제마자용.
Thank you, everyone. Please take care of yourself, and we'll see each other next week.